see any fundamental weakness with the Lightning Network. Not really. Some people would like to say that it can be centralized, because if you have a hub, right, with, let's just say I've got a lot of Bitcoin and I could lay out a whole bunch of pathways across to multiple people, to have most people come to me, right? That you might say go through me, right? And so that might be a way of detecting, hey, how much money is being moved. And it's not quite that simple, because the reason why is because people could transact between each other, right? So if they go through an intermediary, they have to pay, right? So they're only going to go through an intermediary when they absolutely need to. If they're dealing with somebody on a daily basis, or a weekly basis, or a quarterly basis, they might want to create a channel directly to that person. And then once they do that, transactions are free. So if you're asking for the one fundamental weakness, that's it. How do we get it jump started? I think we need somebody to come up with some sort of use case, which would require people to go, oh, wait a second, I have to hold Lightning coins and I get paid somehow? That would be the best thing to do. And then on top of that, I just have to buy into this piece of thing, and then automatically gets me interest or something like that. It's just that the amount of money that you make creating a Lightning node is very, very low. There has to be an incentive to move. That's the problem. There's no incentive to do so. Just like in, what's it called? IP6, sorry. IP6 is great, but there's no incentive to move. Lightning Nectar is great, but there's no incentive to move. Right? That's the problem. Which cold wallet would you recommend buying and why? Can you share some tips on how to store crypto safety? I recommend buying Trezor because it's a lot easier to use. I find for example, for me, you can use one of these ledgers, right? But I find that the 2-button system is not that great. And if you have, if you're like me, and you have what's called a passphrase. A passphrase, what that is every single wallet, hardware wallet, if it's a decent wallet, they support passphrases. I noticed that I didn't see support for that in SafePal, which is another wallet that I'm did a review on that, and I noticed that I didn't see it, which is interesting. Maybe they do have it, and it's just like a little bit roundabout way to get it. And that's important because one of the things you can do, right, with a passphrase is that you could hide the money. So even if somebody gets your 12-word seed word phrase, they still don't have access to the money unless they know what your passphrase is. And so they might just see nothing, right? Especially if you don't use the default passphrase, right? So that's a key thing I like about passphrases, right? So, and yeah, that's why I like it. That's why I like Trezor. It's easier to type in the passphrase because it's got a full screen, right? That you could type it in, right? So you can just type either here or on your computer. And the way it's set up, right, with the passphrase is that you can easily enter it in. That's key. That's so key.